Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a really core puzzle for any manager trying to build a top team. You've got a group of new workers starting, a cohort. How do you actually decide where to invest your valuable, scarce resources? Things like special training, access to mentors, maybe high-profile projects. How do you allocate those to get the best shot at producing future stars?
It's a huge question, and it's one organizations have wrestled with forever. We're going to dig into a major new study today that offers a pretty compelling answer, and it all comes down to timing.
Timing, okay.
Yeah, the research is grounded in this idea called the resource-based theory, or RBT. Basically, how you manage your unique, hard-to-copy resources is, well, what gives you a competitive edge in the long run?
Right, so it's about strategic investment in people. And for years, I guess the debate was about how to invest.
Exactly. There were these two main camps, these sort of rival mechanisms. First, you've got potential-based allocation.
Okay, what's that?
That's where you make your bets early, based on someone's predicted future performance.
Hmm.
Think high draft picks in sports, maybe top grades, impressive resumes, that sort of thing, before they've really done the job.
Got it. Betting on promise. What's the alternative?
The alternative is performance-based allocation. Here, you kind of wait and see. You allocate resources based on their actual performance, what they're delivering right now on the job.
So, potential versus proof.
Pretty much.
Hmm.
And the big question this study tackled was, which one works better?
Hmm.
Or maybe, when does each one work better?
And to answer that, they used, well, quite a data set, right?
Oh, it's incredible. They analyzed 280 cohorts from Major League Baseball. That's nearly 17,500 unique players.
Wow.
And the data stretches from 1871 all the way to 2019, almost 150 years of history. It's just a gold mine for looking at long-term career outcomes.
That's amazing. And you mentioned cohorts earlier. Why was looking at groups rather than just individuals so important here?
Great question. Analyzing at the cohort level groups, starting together, is crucial because that's how resource allocation actually happens in organizations, right?
Hmm.
You have a budget, a set number of training slots, limited manager time for the group. It provides a common baseline and reflects the reality of those finite resources.
Okay, that makes sense. It mirrors the manager's actual decision-making context. But how did they measure star production? That sounds tricky, especially over such a long time span.
Yeah, it is tricky. They knew a simple average wouldn't cut it because stars aren't average. True stars have this massively disproportionate impact. They skew everything.
Right, the outliers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they used a specific statistical approach linked to power laws. They look for a parameter called alpha, basically. A smaller alpha, closer to 1.0, signals a distribution with a heavier right tail.
Meaning more high performers.
Precisely. A greater proportion of those really high-impact stars within that cohort. It's a powerful way to identify which management choices led to more top-tier talent emerging from a group.
Okay, so they have the framework, the massive data set, the cohort approach, and this way to measure star proportion. What did they find? Did potential or performance win out?
Well, this is the really interesting part. The main finding kind of settles the debate by saying they aren't rivals.
Ooh.
They're complementary. They both work, but at different times. It's a sequence. The timing is absolutely critical.
Ah, okay, so this is where it gets really actionable for managers listening.
Exactly. Here's the bottom line. Investing based on potential those early predictions, like draft status in their study, does predict a higher proportion of stars,
Okay.
but only when you focus that investment in the early years, specifically years 1 and 2 on the job.
So front load the investment based on promise.
Right. Build up that initial pool of talent you believe in. But then, crucially, you need to switch gears.
Switch to what?
You need to transition to performance-based allocation. Investing based on actual demonstrated results becomes the better strategy for maximizing stars. But in the later years, think years 3 through 6.
So potential first for years 1, 2, then pivot hard to performance for years 3, 6.
That's the framework the data supports.
And what's the reasoning behind why this works? Why the shift?
The theory they tested, which held up, is that managers become more willing, and it becomes more effective, to allocate based on performance later on because, well, performance becomes more diagnostic over time.
Meaning you have more reliable data on who's actually good.
Exactly. Early on, potential is all you have. But as people work, their actual output becomes a much better predictor of their future trajectory. The importance of that initial potential assessment kind of stays constant, but performance information gets richer and more relevant.
Okay, so for you listening, this offers a clear playbook. Year 1, year 2 with a new cohort.
Focus your key resources, the training, the mentorship, the opportunities on those you predict have the highest potential. Use those early indicators.
Build that high potential pipeline.
Yes. But then, around year 3, the mandate changes. You need to shift. From year 3 up to about year 6. Your resource allocation decision should increasingly be driven by actual measured performance. Who is delivering? Who is showing results? Invest in them to push them towards stardom.
Don't keep betting only on the initial promise if the performance isn't materializing.
Precisely. You nurture potential early, then you reward and amplify proven performance later.
And the study showed this isn't just a small tweak, right? The impact was significant.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
They ran simulations based on their findings, just increasing the emphasis on performance-based allocation in those later years, specifically years 4 and 5.
Yeah.
It resulted in a calculated shift in a simulated organization from having, say, 2 stars in a cohort up to 5 stars.
Wow, more than double.
And not just more stars, but better stars. A simulation showed the top performer in that scenario being over 5 times more impactful performance-wise than the top performer before implementing that time shift.
That's huge. So the timing isn't just theory. It has a massive practical payoff if you get it right.
It really seems to. Get the sequence right, and you dramatically increase your odds of developing truly exceptional talent.
Okay. That's a powerful framework. But maybe let's end with a thought for our listeners to chew on. This was MLB data.
Right. And MLB has, pretty amazing performance data available. It's very measurable. And the work is what we call pooled interdependence.
Meaning individuals contribute their stats to the team total, more or less independently, like hitters or pitchers.
Exactly. One player's output doesn't fundamentally depend on another player's intermediate output in the same way it does in some other jobs.
So the question for you, the listener, is this. What if your organization is different? What if you operate with much less clear performance data? Or what if the work involves high reciprocal interdependence?
Think like a software development team, or maybe a consulting team, or even a basketball team where players constantly rely on each other's passes and screens and assists.
Where individual contribution is harder to isolate and success depends heavily on seamless coordination.
Yeah. In that kind of environment, how might these rules potential for performance later need to be adapted? Or how would you even verify if they apply the same way?
Something to think about for your specific context. Does the nature of the work and the data you have change the optimal timing for investing in your people?
A fascinating question to consider.